I want to talk a bit about a case that I think is precisely the sort of thing that erodes public trust in the justice system. And it's a high profile case, that of Hugh Edwards, the former newsreader. This is the cover of the Eye from the 17th of September. As always, I left it a few seconds so you could pause the screen. I'm going to read this out and the main article and some of the issues around this because I think the sentence is going to infuriate people. Hugh Edwards avoids jail over images of child abuse. Edwards given suspended 6-month prison sentence for accessing indecent images of children as young as 7. Disgraced ex-BBC presenter 63 will be on the sex offenders register for 7 years and must attend 40 days of treatment. Chief Magistrate Paul Goldspring tells Edward that his long-earned reputation is in tatters during sentencing. BBC will continue pursuit of 200,000 paid after arrest as it is pressured to reveal secret internal report about handling of case. And court hears that Edwards paid convicted paedophile up to £1,500 during years of WhatsApp conversations. Years of WhatsApp conversations. Now, firstly, because I'm not sure if this is mentioned in the main report, this thing about the BBC continuing to pursue the 200,000, I think Edward should be forced to pay that. That should be added to a sentence if he doesn't. Forced to pay it. It shouldn't be, oh, please pay us back. He should be forced to pay it back. And if he doesn't have it, then that should be added to his sentence. Um, it's just, the fact that the BBC have to kind of pursue it it's is in itself disgraceful. So this is the report. I think it reflects badly on certainly on Judge Goldspring, but just more broadly on our justice system. Um, and before I get into this, it's important to reiterate this wasn't one or two images in a moment's foolishness. This was prolific pursuing of predatory material that fuels that filthy trade and actually direct interaction with a paedophile. Hugh Edwards will avoid jail after having been sentenced to a suspended 6-month prison term for accessing indecent images of children as young as 7. Sorry, I should say the reports by Callan McGee, Joe Duggan, and Adam Sherwin. The disgraced former BBC presenter 63 was sentenced at Westminster Magistrates Court in London yesterday after admitting 3 charges of making indecent images of children. Edwards must complete a 40-day sex offender rehabilitation programme and will be placed on the sex offenders register for 7 years. 40 days isn't that long. Chief Magistrate Paul Goldspring told him his long-earned reputation is in tatters. Edwards leaned forward with his hands held to his face as the judge spoke, rising only to hear his sentence. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said he was shocked and appalled by the case as it emerged. After it emerged, the former BBC presenter had paid hundreds of pounds to a convicted paedophile who sent him indecent images. I'm just going to interject here because that in itself shows the seriousness of this case. Edwards wasn't just looking at these images out of moment's foolishness. He was actually engaging with a known paedophile, knowing what this man was doing. I think that in itself is very damaging. The court heard Edwards paid convicted paedophile Alex Williams hundreds of pounds on several occasions as gifts or presents, amounting to between £1,000 and £1,500 in total after he sent the presenter indecent images of children on WhatsApp. Williams said the money was to support him at university. In one exchange, Williams wrote he had some naughty pics and vids on Sure If You'd Like. Edwards told him to go on, right? So Edwards cannot claim ignorance here, that the money was for university. Edwards told him to go on, and then Williams stated YNG, an abbreviation for young. Prosecutor Ian Hope told the hearing Mr. Edwards again tells him to go on, and Alex Williams sends a Category A moving image showing a male child aged around 7. This is disgusting stuff. 7 to 9. Alex Williams says the subject is quite YNG, looking to which Mr. Edwards responds if he could be deceptive and asks if he has any more. Now, this is Edwards actively goading this paedophile to reveal more of his filthy material. Williams, 25, sent him 377 sexual images, of which 41 were indecent images of children. Of the indecent images that Edwards received, the estimated age of most of the children was between 13 and 15. Some would say it's pedestry because it's teenagers as opposed to children in that case, but still, they're still minors. 7 were rated to be in the worst category of child abuse, category A, involving children estimated to be between 13 and 15. One showed a child believed to be between 7 and 9. So an 8-year-old child. Williams was arrested in August 2022 in a case unrelated to Edwards. In January, he received a 12-month suspended sentence. Mr. Goldspring told the presenter, "It's obvious that until now you were very highly regarded by the public, and Edwards was perhaps the most recognised newsreader journalist." He added, "It is not an exaggeration to say that your long-earned reputation is in tatters." He also told Edwards it was obvious that these are extremely serious offences, and quoted the pre-sentence report, which noted, "The continued distribution of child abuse images perpetuates a cycle of abuse to fulfil the demand for the sexualisation of children." Edwards has been staying as an inpatient at a hospital since his last court appearance, the court heard. Counsel for Hugh Edwards, this is a side report, said that his client was profoundly sorry for the offence and he recognised the repugnant nature of such images. Philip Evans, KC, told the court he knows he has hurt and he has damaged his family and his loved ones around him. For all of this, he is truly sorry, and he is truly sorry he has committed these offences. I agree with those who say he's only sorry he got caught, because someone who genuinely feels remorse and disgust at their behaviour would have a stop point. Edwards done this prolifically. I think he's only sorry he got caught. Um, Whistleblowers, this is another report, over behaviour feel let down. And I'm not going to read out all of this just for time reasons, but Mr. Davey, that's BBC Director General Davey, is said to be questioned over his handling of the case today when he appears at a Royal Television Society conference. He will be grilled by Radio 4 Today presenter Amal Rajan at the London event attended by global media leaders. I should say this reports from Tuesday. Um, it's hard to think of a bigger fall from grace than Hugh Edwards. You know, he really was a respected face of the BBC. He was a good journalist. Has to be said, he was a good journalist. He was good at what he done. You know, he was professional. He was well spoken. He was good at what he done. But he's a criminal, and I think when we look at cases like this, it's important to not sort of dismiss them as some might try to do. I think most people would be disgusted by it, but some might say, "Oh, it's just images. He wasn't personally abusing the children." But the point about this is, by looking at that material, he is fueling the trade that paedophiles rely on. I mean, there's a filthy trade out there for this stuff, and Edwards was fueling that. Um, but I think what's going to absolutely infuriate people is the fact that he has avoided a prison sentence. Um, this, like I said, I could understand that if it was one or two images, but this was prolific over a long period of time, and it's just, I think people will justifiably say, is this just another case of establishment arrogance? Is the judge protecting Edwards? Now, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I can't prove that. But, you know, Hugh Edwards is an establishment figure. Paul Goldspring, like most judges, represent an establishment, the legal establishment. Um, I'm just going to read another report from the day before. Um, Joseph Cotry Monson, a criminal lawyer and director of Mary Monson Solicitors, said it was incredibly unlikely that Edwards would be jailed, as judges typically suspend sentences if a defendant has no relevant previous convictions. Mr. Cotry Monson, whose firm has handled about 600 cases involving indecent images, said it is still extremely unlikely, incredibly unlikely, Edwards will receive any kind of prison sentence because he's a first time offender. Well, this is a bit like saying, oh, a first time rapist shouldn't go to prison. You know, you only have to do it once. It doesn't devalue how serious the offence is. I have a big problem with that argument. Oh, he's a first time offender. Well, would a first time murderer get a light sentence because he or she hasn't done it before? I just think that's a very vacuous argument. Also, apparently, another reason that was cited was his early guilty plea. But I think this is going to reek of, well, he's being protected by the establishment. I mean, what's his punishment? 7 years on the sex offenders register and mandatory treatment for 40 days. That really sounds watered down. It really sounds like, in proportion to what he was viewing, I don't think it's proportionate. Um, and what the hell is to stop him doing again? Will the treatment help? Will he turn up to the treatment? Um, and what about the families of the children who've been abused? What about the children themselves? You know, this is, as Bernardo's pointed out. Let's see. Lynn Perry, chief executive of Bernardo, said the sexual abuse of children has a devastating and lifelong effect on the lives of survivors. Adding, we must not lose sight of the fact that at the heart of this are children as young as 7 who are victims of horrific sexual abuse. Tens of thousands of children are sexually exploited or groomed online every year.